In this lesson, we're going to make sure you export your song properly. If you open up Follow Along E from the zip you downloaded previously, you can see and hear a version of our song with some additional arranging and mixing completed. The bonus lesson shows me working on our session after the rough mix lesson to turn it into Follow Along E. In the File menu, you'll see Export Audio Video. Now, different DAWs use the same terms to mean different things, and some use different terms for the same process when referring to generating a file from the output of their mixer. Pro Tools and Logic call it bounce. Some call it render, as Ableton did some versions ago, thus why R is in the key command. And some call this process export, as Ableton currently does. The most important first step is to make sure you have the correct start position and length. We can see that it's going to start at bar 31 and only going to render for 4 bars. If the render doesn't start at the beginning for some reason, hit cancel, and then just double click on the stop button in the control bar to make sure it goes to 111. The correct length can sometimes be a little tricky for live to get right if you have any sound that continues beyond the end of the last clip. Often this will be reverb, delays, or release of different synth sounds. Accidentally chopping off the tail of our song is an easy mistake to make. So the best solution is to use the loop brace to input the render length for us. Though you can just drag the loop around until you think it's correct, I'm going to show you a foolproof method that'll help if you're struggling with this part. These steps can be accomplished in a different order, but I'm going to show you what I think is the most straightforward for beginners. Click anywhere and then select All from the Edit menu, or just hit Command A. Then loop selection from the Edit menu or Context menu, which is Command L. Now make sure loop is off, and zoom in a little near the end of the song. We're going to listen through the last few bars and keep an eye on the master track's volume meter, and then we're going to hit stop when the sound is all gone. Now just drag the end of the loop to the time you see no more level on the meters. Zoom out so you can see your whole arrangement. I'm going to use W. If you have an empty bar or two at the beginning, adjust the loop as needed. Click on the loop brace to select everything. Now we can export our song. Shift Command R. Notice that the numbers here match the loop start and length numbers in the control bar. There are a lot of options here. We only need a few of them. For render track, we just want to pick the default, which is the master track, and that's going to be the output of our full mix into one file. Make sure all of these other options are off. If you didn't use a limiter as we discussed, you can enable normalize, but either way, that's really not a big deal. I personally never use normalize when I'm exporting a song. For the sample rate, generally you want to leave it where it is, but if in doubt, 44.1 or 48 are going to be fine. I usually have to deliver files at 48K, so I leave it here and change it to 44.1 later if I need it, and that would be during the mastering process. PCM stands for pulse code modulation, and really just means it's the full quality uncompressed file. To keep it simple, just use these settings, and you can learn all the technical stuff later if you're interested. So you can see here I've picked wave, 24-bit, and rectangular or no dither is pretty standard at this point. I always like to have an MP3 around too, but this is optional. Now click Export, and make sure to save it into the project folder. I often like to listen to my exported mixes and then go back in and make revisions later. Alright, congratulations, you've made it through the whole course, and now you can either recreate what I've shown you how to make, or you can start working on your own project making your own song using the skills that you've learned.